November 5, Bravo, Echo, standing by for the Air Force Fire Response Net, top of the hour, 10-5 BE.
N5B, K1BOB.
K1BOB, N5BE. Good morning, Bob. Sounded good down there.
Oh, you sound great up here. Good morning, Lee. And we had to cancel our trip down to Salt Lake for the weekend and Monday. So you're off the hook, and we'll send you back to the fix to do a few more orbits, Julie. We gotta throw you in there. I'll take my net on Monday. I hope that didn't bother your plans.
Oh, that's okay. I was really looking forward to it. I had a whopper of a World War I history question, so I'll put that one in the bank, Bob.
Well, I hate to do that to you. if you want to do the net, I'm happy. Happy to let you do it. But why don't you do the question? You want to do the question of the day on Monday?
Yeah, why don't I send it to you?
Okay. Why don't you do that, and I'll take a look at it, see if I understand it, and then I'll send it on to Charlie. See if I want to make any slight changes. I like it when you match up the answers. That kind of lends a lot more to getting an answer right that most people probably wouldn't. So I kind of like it when you do that. This is K1BOB. Thank you, Lee.
Yeah, no problem, Bob. Yeah, I think this one's matched up. I got to go back and look at it, and I may have already sent it to Charlie. I'll have to go check my records. Anyway, Brian's going to use one of mine on Saturday, and it's a recent event question. So we'll see how that one goes.
Yeah, there's been a lot of things happening recently there in the defense. They just fired a 4-star Army general for getting in and doing stuff he shouldn't, trying to get a female officer into the general ranks by sending her to the right school, which she was totally unqualified for. So I'll have to read more about that. But they actually already fired the 4-star over it in logistics, Army Logistics Command, I guess, same as the kind we have. K1BOB.
I saw that. Just stunning. I've got a friend of mine. In fact, they're coming over for Christmas. Both of them are Naval Academy graduates. And both sons were officers in the Marine Corps. and the younger one wanted to go infantry. There was one infantry slot available. They gave it to a female. She lasted 2 days.
Yeah, they tried to take that stuff out of the whole game now. Some of these boards are anonymous, and there's no insight into them. And people don't know who they're interviewing for, like, battalion commander selections, which I guess comes with promotion. I don't understand all that stuff. But well, this general jumped in with both feet and didn't know he was being watched. And yeah, it was a female, and she was like the bottom of her class and everything, so she wouldn't have been picked by the board, but he kind of brought her to the top so she would, and he got called on it. Well, he got fired on it, and bye-bye. K1 DLB.
And 5
good morning, gentlemen.
W5
Yeah, good morning, Dale. I'll stop gabbing here. I'll be around on Monday for the net. We had to cancel a trip due to sickness with the little ones down there. Seems to happen this time of year.
Yeah, it sure does. There's a DX station, I think, on the SCR there. Let me see if I can figure out who that is. It's European. I don't hear it here locally. I don't, probably because I have the antenna the other way. But anyway, we'll see how it goes. And I did not match my answers. I should have done that. You guys talking about it reminded me, but it's too late now. We'll be starting the Air Force's Flyers Club net in about 12 minutes. W5OG.
Yeah, I'm seeing that DX station there on the waterfall a little bit, but I can't hear him on my radio either. But he's coming into SCR2 in Ogden.
So, Dale, can I assume the answers are not matched? Over.
That is correct. You may assume that. Bill, good morning. I'll give that much of it away, Bill.
Yes, W2 WLD.
N5BE, KF0OPE.
KF0OPE and 5E. Man, you're strong on me, Mike. Always.
That's good to hear. Hey, I'll be a short timer today, one and done. I got to get out of here and get some business done.
Okay, very well. You're almost at the top, and I'll move you right up there and get you very high on the list, Mike. Thanks for letting me know.
No problem. Good morning, everybody. KF0OPE, standing by for the list.
Good morning, Mike. W5OG, and Bob, if you would bring in Don, K07, he's not on there yet, but if you bring him in, if he shows up, I'd appreciate it. W5OG.
Welcome, Dale, and good signal, Mike, from Nebraska. K1 DLB. Same, Bob. You're about a 5'8", but good copy here in Nebraska. K0OPE. Roger, Roger. You're S9 here. Looking a little southeast, so. K1 DLB.
K1DOB N5BE.
Yeah, go ahead, Leon. K1DOB.
Yeah, I just sent the questions to you, but I realized I put a note at the bottom saying they were not matched. I'm going to re-wicker this thing and send it back to you re-wickered because there's more than one answer. I'll accept one of the answers. You don't need to have both of them. But I will match them up so that they are matched pairs.
Okay, very good, Lee. Yeah, I appreciate that. I haven't used one of yours in quite a while, I think, if I have. So that'll be good. Save me some work this weekend. Yeah, I just want to make sure I totally understand it before I bring it up on the air. But I'd like you to talk to it. You'll know a lot more than I will. K1DOB. Thank you, Lee. Oh, you need to tell me what that selector switch terminology on your AR is.
Okay, full, left is safe. 12 o'clock is flee. And 3 o'clock is Allah snack bar. A takeoff on Allah Akbar.
Oh, okay. That's not a full auto one, though, is it? Even though it's got 3 positions?
Yeah, it's not full auto. But anyway,
okay.
I like their sense of humor.
Very good. K1DOB. Thank you, Lee.
K4YDB N5BE. Go ahead, Charlie. Yeah. Go ahead and do that, and I will rewrite it and send it back to you. Thank you, Charlie.
This is Whiskey 5 Oscar Golf. The Air Force's Flyers Club Net will start on this frequency in 5 minutes.
W5OG, W5ABI. Good signal, Dale.
Thank you, Joe. You too. W5ABI at W5OG.
Thanks for the report. W5ABI standing by for net. Yeah, Roger. W5OG, W5ABI, KZ5PTE is checking in, Dale, over.
Okay, thank you, Joe. I hear him good on the SDR. Hear you fine, James. You're coming in very good on the Utah SDR. W5OG.
W5OG, K2SJP checking in.
Good morning, Bob. Good signal. You're 5'9" with me, even barefoot.
Okay, I'm on the iPhone here in Holiday. Got some computer problems. I'm using the iPhone today.
Okie dokie. Sounds good. No worries.
Standing by to the Air Force Flyers Club. Dale, you've got, I've got you at 20 over here in Peoria, Arizona. Over.
Hey, was that John, W7AJN?
Roger.
Okay, John. Yeah, I hear you good too. You're S9 with me. W5OG.
and 5BE, K1DOB. Go ahead and put K0ZNC on the list there, Don. I'm going to bring him in this morning. I've got contact with him. K1DOB. Thank you, Lee.
Okay, Bob, I'll get him in there. Thank you.
Okay, it's 1600 Zulu. Good morning again. This is Whiskey 5 Oscar Golf. My name is Dale, and I'm located in East Texas, about 100 miles east of Dallas out in the country. I'll be net control for the Air Force's Flyers Club net this Thursday morning. This group meets on this frequency and every day of the year. Our members are active duty, retired, and veterans of the military air forces from all branches. They include air crew, ground crew, air traffic controllers, aviation support personnel, pretty much anyone involved with the aviation mission from all of our armed forces. We also very much like to welcome visitors to join us on the net. The purpose of our group is to promote fellowship between those of us radio amateurs who devoted a portion of our lives supporting the missions of our armed forces. This is a control net, contact net control. Please use the words contact, relay, info, or check-in. We have a nice website. You can find out all about us at airforcesflyersclub.org. I'll say that again, airforcesflyersclub.org. We are using a list off of NetLogger, and N5BE is doing the net logging for us this morning. So you can go there to check in. I do ask, though, that if you don't intend to participate in the net, that you indicate that you're receive only. You can do that in several ways. In the AIM window, you can indicate that AIM window of NetLogger is there. The almost instant messaging, and we'll almost get your message. So I would appreciate that. That way we're not wasting time. We won't be wasting time with folks that just are listening. And we understand that there will be some lurkers, and we appreciate that. And we welcome you to listen in on the net anytime you like. Let's see. Having said that, let me go through the existing list as I have it off of NetLogger this morning. I've got Don, K0ZNC, and good morning to you, Don. You'll be brought in off of Echolink. Speaking of Echolink, we do have a Echolink node that we back up the HF with. It's AFFC, that's Alpha Foxtrot Foxtrot Charlie. In the conference tab of Echolink there, you can find it. Also on the list, we have Mike, KF0OPE, a short timer. I've got Lee, N5BE. and Mike, WW5ENZ. I've got Captain Bill, W2WLD. Got our commander, K1BOB Bob. I've got John, WA6LJS. Haven't heard him yet this morning, but I'm sure he's got a good signal with me this morning. Man seems to be in reasonable shape. Got the other John, W7AJN. I've got Charlie, K4YDB, and Charlie is running the live stream on YouTube, and you can see the question of the day there. And he is live streaming that, so we do appreciate that. If you go to YouTube and search for K4 Yankee Delta Bravo, you'll be able to watch the net in progress from Charlie's perspective and see the, you don't have to write down the question of the day that way. All right, also on the list, I've got W5ABI Joe and my younger brother Brian from San Antonio, WB5DRI. Good morning to you, Brian. And James, KG5PT. You had a good signal, James, this morning. I heard you on the SDR there. And Bob, K2SJP. And also we've got some listeners here that we know of. N9KJN, Norm from Illinois there. Good morning to you, Norm. And Chris, who's working today, KS5KY. And Ray, WB2JJO, that unfortunately lost his hex beam and is unable to transmit for a while. You need to move to Texas. You can work on antennas all year here in Texas, Ray. You don't have to wait for spring. All right, and also we've got Steve from San Diego, Tailhook Navy, K6 Papa X-Ray. Good morning to you, Steve. Okay, let me see if there's any other additional check-ins. Over-the-air check-ins for the Air Force's Fire Scrub Net members or visitors. This is W5OG. Call now. Boy, all quiet this morning. How about John, WA6LJS? Put a call out, if you would, from the left coast, John, W5OG.
I will call. This is WA6LJS, relaying for net control for the Thursday morning Air Force Flyers Net. We're looking for check-ins, either members or visitors. Call now. WA6LJS, W4PUO. W4PUO is in there, Dale. That's all I heard. Back to net.
Who was in there, John? I missed that.
W4PUO, Lee.
Oh, I haven't heard Lee. Okay, we'll get him on there, W4PUO. Good morning to you. He's not listening to me. We don't have a short shift situation this morning, so I'll have to use you to relay there, John, but thank you for bringing him in. Let's go to Bill, W2WLD. If you put a call out from Scotia there, W5OG.
Yeah, will do. This is W2WLD, upstate New York. Relaying to net control for the Air Force Flyers Club. We're taking check-ins, members or guests. Please call now. It's pretty quiet, Neil.
Okay, thank you, Bill. Any of the folks on the list that need to be a short timer, in addition to Mike that we already have, KF0OP, any other short timers? Call now. Hearing none, I guess we can continue on with the group still assembled. My question has to do with the C-141. We haven't talked about the C-141 for a while, so I thought it would be a good time to bring up the old venerable C-141. I've spent a portion of my life in that world and enjoyed flying the airplane very much. The Lockheed C-141 first began USAF operations in April 1965 and quickly became the fundamental strategic airlift aircraft for the then Military Airlift Command. My question of the day is simple. Which, if any, of the following statements concerning the C-141 is or are not correct? Which, if any of the following statements concerning the C-141 is or are not correct? You can assume that to mean that you could select all of them as being correct, but there is possibly a false answer. And the first answer alpha, is the C-141 was the first jet transport from which U.S. Army paratroopers jumped. and the first to land in the Antarctic. The C-141A was the first jet transport from which U.S. Army paratroopers jumped, and the first to land in the Antarctic. Answer Bravo. The total number of C-141 sorties flown to or from Vietnam was greater than 6,000. Greater than 6,000 airlift missions. That's answer Bravo. Total number of 141 sorties flown to or from Vietnam was greater than 6,000. Answer Charlie is the C-141B variant became operational in 1979 and stretched the fuselage by adding a single plug, adding some 23 feet in length, and also added air refueling capability. Answer Charlie is the C-141B variant became operational in 1979 and stretched the fuselage by adding a single plug, adding some 23 feet in length, and also added air refueling capability. Answer Delta. Because the C-141 aircraft with its 4 Pratt & Whitney TF-33 turbofan engines was so overpowered, adding the additional length did not affect aircraft performance. Because the C-141 aircraft with its 4 Pratt & Whitney TF-33 turbofan engines was so overpowered, adding the additional length did not affect aircraft performance. That's answer Delta. The bonus question. Although it seems relatively short compared to the C-130, how long was the C-141 actually operational? How long was the C-141 operational? Was it A, 30 years, B, 40 years, C, 50 years, or D, 60 years, 60 years? The bonus question again is, although it seems relatively short compared to the C-130, how long was the C-141 operational? A, 30, B, 40, C, 50, or D, 60 years. Anybody need a repeat or a clarification on the question? Call now, W5OG. All right, that seems fairly straightforward, and if you do have any questions, just give me a call here. All right, let's go ahead and start down the list. We'll go to Don first, K0ZNC, and if you bring Don in off of Echo Link there, Bob, I would appreciate that. K1BOB, W5OG.
K1BOB, certainly, Dale. And Don, go ahead. You're up for the flyers.
Everyone, good morning, all the flyers. This is Bob, K0ZNC in Lone Rock, Colorado. Got a nice fall day bright here. Currently 31 degrees outside. And going up to a high today of 49, I think, right around almost 50 degrees. It's really nice outside. We enjoy that. The forecast as usual is no rain. The inside to that, there's no forest fires right now. So things are doing pretty good in the fire department. Well, let's see. According to the question, I have no idea except I'm going to delicious a flag, I guess. A flag put me down for the first one being the correct answer, and put me down for Charlie for the band question. First flag. Have no idea. We turn back to lovely wife is here tonight for me. Good morning, Dara. And we'll carry over to W5OG and K1BOB, and thanks to the both of you for getting me on this K0ZNC. I'll be standing by. Give me a shout on the 73 round. Sorry, that I'll be here.
Okay, K1BOB, back to W5OG.
Okay, thank you, Don, and good morning to you, and Carolyn says hello. And thank you, Bob, for the simulcast there. Good job. Let's go to our, and got your answers there, Don. All okay. Bravo Charlie. All right, let's go to Mike, KM0 OPE. Our only short timer this morning. Good morning again, Mike. You're up, W5OG.
Well, good morning, Dale. Thanks for getting me in there right away. I got business to get done today. Boy, tough question this morning. I actually have some cargo seat time, swing seat time, sitting in the back of a 141. Actually, quite a bit. A few pond crossings sitting in the back of that sucker. I'm gonna say all true and Bravo for my answer. It's tough to be at the head of the line and not have a lemming line to follow. So all true and Bravo. Back to W5OG in the net. Have a good day, everybody. 7-3, KF0OP.
Okay, Mike. Yeah, you have a good day also, and got your answer all true and Bravo. And most everyone that spent any time in the military during that time period, that would be up until really up until about 1999 or so, 2000. When the C-17s came along, probably got an experience riding in the back of a C-141. It's not the most comfortable airplane to ride in. But I always thought it was much more comfortable than the C-130 I ever thought about being. And I've got some time riding in the back of it, too. Anyway, let's move along. Let's go to Lee, see what he has to say about the old C-141. N5BE, go ahead, Lee. Good morning, W5OG.
W5OG N5BE. Hold on, I did not shut the SDR on. Okay, much better. Boy, 141. Yeah, I got some time in the back in one of those over the Pacific, back and forth. So yeah, I do. I got a C-141 story, and I'm not asking for any comment necessarily, or any acknowledgement necessarily. Free to do so if you want to. 1983, we're on a marketing tour with a Bell 214 ST in the Middle East. We're in Oman. And we had to go to Salalah down by the Yemen border. What a garden spot. And so we got permission to land at Masirah to get a bag of gas to make it down to Salalah. Masirah is a large island off the coast of Oman. Back in the day, it was being used to build up the Rapid Deployment Force. You may recognize that. That was the interim solution after the Desert One fiasco. So we land there. We're getting gas, and a A-model C-141 comes in and lands. So we kind of turn around, and we're doing our thing, and we turn back to look at the 141. It's gone. It's disappeared. So when we take off, taking our basic south heading out of town, we're looking, and we can't find the 141. It's not there. I don't know. So all we could think of is it went underground somewhere. But who knows? It wasn't a touch and go either. So no comment necessary if you did. Anyway, I thought that was crazy. All right, let's get to the question. I thought that thing had two plugs, forward and after the wing. So I'm going to say Charlie is incorrect, and I think it lasted about 40-something years. So I think the closest one is Bravo. So I'm going to go Charlie, Bravo, Dale. And thank you for jogging my way back memory about that 141 at Masirah.
Okay. All right, Lee. I don't know how you make a C-141 disappear, but they are devious ways, I suppose. Anyway, very good comment there, Lee. Appreciate that. Thank you. And yeah, you have your answer as Charlie Bravo. All right, let's go to Chief Mike, WW5ENZ. You're up, Mike. Good morning, W5OG. All right, W5OG, WW5UZ. I was afraid you were going to call me next, you know, and I really, I don't know what a plug is. I don't know what a plug is, so I'm going to have trouble with this question. But I guess he's ahead of me, so he said Charlie, because everything on there, to me, that's good, that's right. Except for, you know, that one word, a single plug. So, I don't know, but, and he's got a lot more experience on this than I do. I've seen a 141 before, many times, obviously. And I was at Wright Pat when the 141 brought the POWs back in there to the hospital, Wright Patterson. So, it was kind of a cool thing. And since then, I've seen the 141 that was for the POWs that was traveling around, and it came into Randolph there, and I got a chance to look at that when I was Deputy Director of Maintenance down there. Anyway, a lot of fun, but I'm going to say, I think I'm going to go with Charlie and Bravo. So Charlie Bravo, anyway, that's going to be my guess. It's a pretty nice day here in Oklahoma. It's not as cold as it was yesterday, but the winds are blowing, so who knows? It feels the same. Anyway, I'm glad I didn't do NetLogger today, because about 15 minutes ago, my computer decided to update and reset, and everything went gone. I'm just glad I wasn't doing NetLogger, so appreciate you doing that, Lee, and we'll catch you later. This is WW5ENZ back to net, and I'll be here to the bottom.
All right there, Chief Mike, mighty fine. You mean you've never ridden in the back of a C-141, Mike? Over?
Negative. Actually, I have not. I always wanted to, but I never had the chance. I've done, you know, C-130s a lot, and 135s a lot, but not a 141. I guess because I was always in SAC most of the time and not in MAC.
I guess so. Although we deploying a lot of troops from different commands, I know that. Anyway, mighty fine. Got your answers, Charlie Bravo. Let's go to Captain Bill. I don't know if you've ever ridden in a 141 or not, Bill. Probably, maybe not, because you're in the Navy there. I don't know. W2WLD, go ahead, Bill. W5OG.
Okay, Dale, not that I'm aware of. You know, I have ridden in the back of a 130. I prefer the cockpit of a P3 Orion. Morning, everybody. Propagation is great today. It's sunny right now. We had a storm blow through the whole Northeast yesterday, with very heavy winds and rain and snow. I expected snow on the ground this morning, and there wasn't any, so I dodged one, I guess. As far as the question, I don't know, but I do find it difficult to believe that adding 23 feet to aircraft fuselage would not affect performance. So, put me down for Delta, please, and Bravo, 40 years. W5OG, W2WLB.
Okay, Bill. Delta Bravo for you. And, yeah. All right. Good thinking there. Let's go ahead. Let's go to Bob. K1BOB. Good morning again, Bob. You're up. W5OG.
Oh, good morning, Dale, and everybody on the net. This is K1BOB. Idaho. A little warmer today. It's 30. It was down in the teens yesterday. Anyway, thank you, Leon, for doing the NetLogger. Thank you, Charlie, so I can read the question up here. Just set up there on YouTube. Very nice. Okay, I've most of the contact I ever had with C-141s when I ran the airfield operation stuff at Hill, and I had a nice office that overlooked the parking ramp for the big aircraft, a lot of evergreen air, and I've seen both the C-141, the stretch model, and I think it only has one plug, by the way. I think it's just got that aft end, I was going to say 18 feet, but I'm probably 23 is right. I've seen them parked next to each other. It's quite startling the difference in them. And also parked next to a C5, which overwhelms both the 141s. Anyway, I'm going to go with Alpha. I think that is true. I think the paratroopers is true. I'm not sure about the first landing on the Antarctic man. Probably that's true because the paratroopers is pretty true. So I think A's true. I think B's
true. That sounds close. I think that could be correct. They did all the long haul missions and took all the wounded out. And I think most of those stories came right back to the States when they could, unless they stopped at Clark or something, or Hawaii, I don't know. But I think they were all long missions too, so I'm going to go with that is correct. I'm not sure though. It could be wrong. That put me down for true. Charlie, I think that's true. One plug, I think, 23 feet. I've seen them next to each other and added the refueling. I think that is correct too, because I don't remember them on the old one. The 141, Ford Pratt & Whitney, I guess they're TS-33. I don't know the engine nomenclature. And I know they had more than enough power for that added fuselage, which isn't much more drag and a bit more weight, so I probably had no problem with that. I don't know if I'm going to say that's true though. I don't, it's maybe the only one that's false, but put me down for all true, Dale. And the second one, I think 4 years is good, because you gave me half the clue on that. I've seen him at Hill. In the late 1900s and 2000s, and so I think 40 years is probably correct. It's either 30 or 40. I'm going with 40 though. I think that's more correct. From having seen them the time period after they first started out in 16. So thanks for the question. Good question. Put me all through there, Lee, and whatever I said, bravo for the second one. He'll be back to
Okay, Bob. All good rationale there, analysis, as always. And mighty fine. And, yeah, sorry you're not going to get to go down and visit your family there in Salt Lake, but always better that you don't just go down and take the risk of getting whatever those young ones have there. All right, let's move along. WA6LJS, good morning, John. Haven't even talked to you yet. Well, a little bit, I guess. Anyway, you're up, W5OG.
Yeah, good morning, Bill and the Net. This is WA6LJS. Excellent conditions on the West Coast this morning. Everybody's coming in very nicely on the local receiver. Don't even need the SDRs. Well, it's a nice day out here. It's 43 degrees, a little cold, but we've got clear blue sky, plenty of sun, and that high winds that we had a couple days ago is gone. So we're hoping there is a storm up in northern California heading that way. It might come down here, so we're hoping we get a little rain there. Anyway, let's see. Answer to today's question, I'm going to go with Bill. I'm going to say Delta. Is a not correct statement because I don't think those engines were overpowered on the full 141. So I think it would have affected its performance when they made the change. So put me down for Delta, and I'm going to follow also for B Bravo. 40 years is the length of service there. So BB will be me. And let's see, I never had a chance to ride on a 141. I did get a hop when I was at Bunker Hill. My grandfather passed away out here on the West Coast, and I was in Bunker Hill, Indiana, at Bunker Hill Air Force Base, and had to get back for the funeral, so I did get a hop, and I think it was a C-130, but it was probably the worst airplane I ever had. We had a whole carload of engine parts, and couldn't climb over the storm, and we were bouncing around quite a bit. But I think it was a 130, but I'm not 100% sure of that. But that was the worst flight I ever had on any aircraft. Anyway, back to you, Bill. Thanks for running things. W5OG, WA6LJS.
Okay, John, mighty fine. Delta and Bravo for you. You never got the opportunity to fly in an old shaky. the C-124, and I looked at the list here. I don't see Bobby X6RG's not on here. He actually got a chance to fly it for a while. Flew it for a while. And I always felt like I missed a part of history. When I came in too late to be assigned to the C1, C-124. That was the strategic airlifter before the 141. And, there was a lot of nostalgia with that. The C-141 did essentially the same kind of a job that the 124 did, only a whole lot higher and faster and much more comfortable. Those poor guys, droning through at 8 to 10,000 feet all over the world. in all kinds of weather, and I've had a couple of rides in the 124 that just were not all that comfortable, and we'll leave it at that. Anyway, let's move on. Let's go to John, W7AJN. You're old enough to have flown in many of these airplanes here. John, go ahead. W5OG. Good morning.
Put them on a C-124, and actually we used two different C-124s when they took layers, and might take them to wherever, or to Korea, or but anyway, when I left Southeast Asia on the 19th of December, I left 19th of December on the embassy flight to C-141, and I picked it up in Mesa, and then overnighted. Not overnight, but I guess 18 hours or something like that in Philippines. We took off from Bangkok in the evening, left very half a morning, left 13 minutes in the evening on the 19th. Well, the midnight, so it was the 20th of December, my birthday. We got on the C-141 and flew into Hawaii, and we took a break there. And the 20th in Philippines, and then I had the 20th also in Hawaii. And so I had two birthdays that year. And I think I got 2 years old from that trip. Anyway, that's our story. And I think that was all crew and Bravo. All crew and Bravo. W7AJN, that's in the control.
Alrighty, very fine, John. Interesting story there. Yeah, I remember the old embassy run. Not everybody got to do that. You had to have a little bit of seniority in order to get that trip. But it was a lot of fun, and it went completely around the world. Okay, let's move along. Let's go to Charlie, K4YDB. Good morning, Charlie. You're up, W5OG.
W5OG, K4YDB. Well, good morning, Dale. Morning to all the flyers out there. Hope everybody's having a good morning. Right now, it is currently 42 degrees here. It's supposed to get up to 51 today. But good news is the wind isn't blowing like it was yesterday. Humidity is about 61%. And we're done with the rain for a while. So now we just got to get everything to dry out. And of course, my backyard is really, really wet. But as far as the C-141, I've been on them many a time, but I've never flown. The wheels never left the ground as long as I was in there. I guess I was too heavy or something. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, they were there. We didn't have any at Yokota. We just had a lot of them come in and out of there. At any given time, we'd have about 5 or 6 of them there. They were moving a lot of cargo. I didn't see any troops being moving on them. That was everything. That was when everything was closing and coming out of Vietnam. But anyway, as far as the question goes for me, I'm just gonna go with Charlie and Bravo on this end over here. W5OG K4YDB. I'm back to net.
Okay, Charlie. Well, let me assure you that I've spent many hours in the Yokota Officers Club, so that there were a lot of C-141s in and out of Yokota during that time period. I can guarantee you that. And we would time our trips so that we got there before they stopped serving the yak soup. That was one of the favorites there. It was a French onion soup that they served there, but they stopped serving it at about 3 o'clock in the morning, as I recall. So we had to speed up the airplane so I could make sure we got to the club to get the yak soup before they stopped serving it. Yak soup and spring rolls was a delight there at that fine officers club back then. And those were the days. I could tell you some stories about Yokota. You know, they had a stag bar, if you can remember, back that far when those kinds of things were allowed. You couldn't do that anymore, but only men were allowed in that bar. And they had I will tell you. They had a velvet nude in the bar over the bar, a great big gorgeous portrait, and it was quite something to witness. I don't think there was any of the crew members that would not remember that. I guess that's probably enough of that talking about the old days there that I remember well. All right, let's move along. Let's go to Joe, W5ABI. You're up, Joe, W5OG.
Yeah, W5OG and the Flyers, W5ABI. Good morning, Dale. Good morning to the Flyers. Thanks for running your net. Overcast day here, no rain, no wind. 40 degrees, and a low of 35, and first have a high of 55. So that's about normal for this time of year. Gee, nice from Travis to Clark from 67. I don't know if you were flying the C-141 then, but it could have been my pilot. Aye. Anyhow, all I remember is we touched down on the way. It was either Wake or another one of those islands. But if I recall, it looked like we were going to run out of runway there. And I remember seeing chain link fence and the sea on the other side. So correct me if I'm wrong. You probably know the island. You probably stopped there. Anyhow, my answer to the question, I'm going to say they're all true. And second one, I'm going to say Bravo. And we'll be here to the bottom. W5OG, W5ABI.
Okay, Joe. Yeah, I remember going into Wake, although that was not a regular refueling stop for the 141. The general trip was Hickam to Guam without landing at Midway. I mean at Wake or Midway. I've been in both those places in the 141, but it wasn't a routine refueling stop. It was not necessary for the 141. Some other aircraft had to stop and refuel at Wake, but not the 141. All right, let's move along to Brian, WB5DRI. You're up, Brian. Good morning, W5OG.
Yeah, W5OG and the net. This is WB5DRI. Well, good morning, Dale, and love to you and Carolyn there. And good morning to all the Flyers and the net. Another cool day down here in San Antonio, but it's going to be nice. We started out below freezing, about 35, and we're up to about 56 right now, and we're going up to 65 for the high. So it's going to be a beautiful day down here in San Antonio. Anyway, good to be back on the net. Good conditions on the band this morning, and good to hear everybody. On your question, Dale, I
have to relay a story that's kind of funny to me, but I don't know if it will be to everybody else. But in the early 80s, about 1983, I was stationed here in San Antonio, actually, at I started out in my career in security service, and then security service became the Electronic Security Command. So I was in the Electronic Security Command headquarters here in San Antonio, and I was working a project that took me to Team Spirit in Korea, and I had to go out late. I couldn't go with the group I was supposed to originally go with because my wife was having an operation, so I was able to stay and for that, and then leave after she was completed with the operation and everything that she was supposed to do at that time. But I flew over on a C-141B with a bunch of security police guys going to this Team Spirit exercise in Korea, and we were going to Seoul from San Antonio, and we got up to right around Anchorage, just before Anchorage. We were supposed to land at Elmendorf, but they decided not to land in Elmendorf, and they had just, everybody had just eaten. You get these box lunches on the C-141s, or you did at that time. Everybody had a box lunch, so everybody had eaten, and I had all these security police guys sitting around me, and the crew of the 141 decided to not to land at Anchorage, or the aircraft commander, I guess, and he decided to hit a tanker instead. So we hit a tanker, and we're sitting there bouncing up and down, and all these security police guys, one guy got sick, and then 3 or 4 others all around me there got sick, and I'm sitting there trying not to get sick. I didn't get sick, but try that sometime. It's kind of tough not to get sick when you have a situation like that, but we were bouncing around all over the place with that refueling. It's kind of funny. Anyway, my answers are going to be all true and bravo, Dale. I think it was 40 years. So good question, and enjoying the net this morning. Back to you guys. Back to you. W5OG, WB5URI. Back to net. Good morning, everybody.
Okay, Brian. Yeah, I never got the opportunity to refuel with the C-141. In fact, the only aircraft I've ever done aerial refueling was a helicopter, and that was difficult. And I'm sure it was the same flying that the big aircraft, but it shouldn't be much moving around. That's probably poor, I don't know, tactics on somebody's part there. But yeah, I know how those things go. It seems to be kind of catching. If you're not feeling real good, the last thing you want to happen is somebody gets sick near you. So, all right, let's move along. We'll go to James, KG5PTE. Good morning, James. Where's Uncle Cliff today? I don't see him on the list. W5OG.
KG5PT here. I'm laughing at Brian's story there. I'm just sitting there rolling on the floor. Brian, you were coming back from RASF on a KC-135, and we had some bad turbulence, and a bunch of guys had just eaten their box lunch, and they got sick. I know the story well. I weren't refueling, but you're right, it can happen. That was a bad call, man. You guys should have landed there at Alaska, man. You should have had a mutiny or something and made that pilot land that plane. Not just kidding. All right, I'm going to follow your lead, Brian. So I'm going to go Tango Bravo. I think they're all true, and Bravo is the bonus question. Good net, Dale. Hearing everybody on the electronic radio just fine. And some on the flex here. And I did figure out, Dale, how to add memories to my smart SDR on the iPhone. I just haven't figured out how to remove them. And I sent an email to Marcus, and he showed me how to do it. But the instructions he sent me are vague, and I may have to get with you on that. But as far as adding memories, I've got to figure it out. And you have to Mango Bravo, back to net, and we'll turn that over to Bob. Bob, I heard you. W50
Okay, all right, James. Yeah, if the frequency lock is on, even the memories will not change it. It's locked on that frequency. But yeah, that would be interesting. If you can remember, and I'm not sure exactly that I've gone through the drill of deleting a memory. I don't know exactly how you do that. Maybe you just place it right over it. I'm not sure. Anyway, let's move along. We'll go to Bob, K2SJP. Good morning again, Bob. You're up, W5OG.
Good morning, Dan. And good morning to all the flyers. Over here on the iPhone, sitting on my couch in Holiday. We got some computer problems, so I couldn't get onto my computer over here to be on the net. But at least it works okay with the iPhone. We had a 43 degrees here this morning. About 5 a.m., 5:30 a.m. Really cold. Now, it's about 65. Not too bad. And nice and sunny outside. It's pretty good. Nothing on the amplifier yet. Nothing. I think I'm going to give it another couple of days, and then I'll try to contact Ken Wells and see what's happening with that. And that's better from this end. On the answers, I will go with True and Bravo. True and Bravo also. Thanks, Dale, and thanks for running the net. W5OG, K2SJP will be on. Take a link afterwards.
Okay, mighty fine there, Bob. Got your answer, True and Bravo, and we'll move along to Lee. Yeah, sorry about your amplifier there. That seems a shame. That anyway, I would not have any, I guess, hesitation, and not, you would not be imposing on him to just ship them down a quick query by email. That it doesn't take long for folks just to glance at an email and decide whether they're going to answer it or not. But just to check, I would go ahead and ping with an email there, Bob, personally. But maybe you're better about the timing than the rest of us. All right, let's go on to Lee, W4PO, and I'll need you to bring him in, John, if you don't mind. W6LJS, please bring in W4PO, W5OG.
Loco, W4PO, Lee, you're up. WA6LJS, relay.
Yeah, the strong signal from California, WA6LJS, W4PO. You're blasting right through my high noise level today, John. Very clear. Got a S7, S8, but the noise is just below you. Well, it's a nice day here in Belleville, and my voice is starting to come back okay, and that's a good thing. The question is interesting. I don't really have an answer, so I'm going to guess along with everybody that's guessing today, and I'm going to say Alpha is false, and Bravo is the bonus question. So 40 years. And that's all I'm going to say today. So I'm one and done, guys. 73s. Hope y'all have a good good Christmas. Thanksgiving is long past, but I'm still thankful. W4PUO, back to net.
Okay, Lee, real good. Did you copy any of that, Dale, over?
Yeah, copied all, John. Thank you, and yeah, let Lee know we got it all okay. He's coming in coming in good on the SDR there, John.
Yeah, he copied you 100%, Lee.
Roger that.
All righty, let's you got two for Alpha and Bravo for Lee. And look, it looks like that's the last one on the list. So we'll say another good morning again, and greetings to N9KJN. And Chris, KS5KY, and Ray, WB2JJO, and Steve, K6 Papa X-Ray. Did I miss anyone on the initial trip through the list? Call now, W50G. All right, let me go ahead and discuss a little bit about the question of the day that had to do with the Lockheed C-141. First began Air Force operations in April of 1965. It quickly became the fundamental strategic airlift aircraft for the then Military Airlift Command. My question, pretty simple one actually. Which, if any, of the following statements concerning the 141 is or are not correct? The C-141 was the first jet transport from which U.S. Army paratroopers jumped. The first jet transport, and that is a true statement. And the first to land in the Antarctic. The first whole jet aircraft to land in the Antarctic was the C-141. So it was true. The B answer, the total number of 141 sorties flown to and from Vietnam, they exceeded 6,000 airlift missions, no doubt about that. Typically, there were 6 bases before Travis and March on the west coast, and on the east coast there was McGuire, Dover, and Charleston. I was stationed at Charleston, South Carolina, and all the 6 bases of 141 back during Vietnam typically would go through Elmendorf over to Yakota, in country, and drop off whatever you're carrying in, bombs, bread, bullets, whatever, and bring back, unfortunately, a lot of dead bodies, and that's what we did. And the trip back, you would typically go back through either Clark or Kadena. Kadena was the other base that routinely you went through after going in country. But the West Coast bases would sometimes come back through Hickam. So that's, returning to their base there. And that was it. There was a lot of activity. I can remember many, many days where every 20 minutes there was a C-141 along the North Pack. You could set your watch by it. Every 20 minutes was a C-141, and you'd pass them, and you go in the other direction. You'd see them pass, different altitudes, but they'd be on the same track as you were on at a different altitude. Those were interesting times back then. Many, many good stories and a lot of fun memories. So anyway, the next question the answer was the C-141B variant became operational in 1979 and stretched the fuselage by adding a single plug, adding some 23 feet in length. The 23 feet in length is correct. The single plug is not, and Lee was exactly right. You think about adding that much additional length to a fuselage. And Charlie asked, what is a plug? Well, essentially, it's just a section of fuselage that's added to the aircraft. And there were 2 such plugs with the B model. It had to be fore and aft of the wing box to maintain the center of gravity. And I thought that somebody would pick up on that, and Lee sure enough did. The single plug was not correct. But they did add the air refueling capability with that B mod. So anyway, C was incorrect, and D, because the 141 aircraft with its 4 Pratt & Whitney TF-33 turbofan engines was so overpowered, adding the additional length did not affect aircraft performance. And I should have added that it did not significantly affect aircraft performance. Obviously, there was a slight change to overall performance, but not airspeed or altitude capability. The aircraft was overpowered initially, and the TF-33 engines were very, very powerful engines. You could fly 2 engine with no problem with that aircraft. And certainly the A model, and I expect it was the same with the B model. It probably made it even a little more stable. I don't know. Anyway, and the bonus question, although it seems relatively short compared to the C-130, how long was the 141 operational? It was 40 years. Most all of you got that. And I was kind of surprised because it did seem like a short period of time. It actually was was used very, very well by the Air Force. And the other thing that in addition to the C-17 that led to the quick retirement of the 141 was the fact that there were some structural problems with the airplane. They were going to have to replace a lot of the wing boxes, and maybe all of them. And also, if you recall, and I'll just mention this in passing, the Craft came along about that same time. The Civil Reserve Air Fleet, well, no, they'd had the Craft all along. But the thing that changed was the onset of UPS and FedEx, and the whole air freight industry that grew up, the overnight air and the incredible growth of that capability. And those aircraft were available to MAC at that time, Military Airlift Command, now Air Mobility Command, to fill in the need for resupplying a conflict anywhere in the world. And of course, both UPS and FedEx and some other cargo carriers are being used in a role to support the military. So the C-17 essentially did away with the technology was so advanced over the 141 that it led to the demise of the good old C-141. It was a very fine airplane from my estimation since I got to fly it, and I was happy that I did. Anyway, I appreciate your answers and hope you enjoyed that question. A review of the C-141. All right, let's move along. Let me just take a quick standby and see if we have any additional check-ins, and we'll start the 73 round. Any other check-ins for the Air Force's Flyers Club Net this Thursday morning? W5OG, call now.
Echo 4, Tango Papa, KE4TT, number 497, Paul in Willoughby, Florida, Pastor 1.
Good morning, Paul, KE4 Tango Papa. Yeah, number 497. I remember that you were a member. I don't think you're on the current roster. I'm just wondering if perhaps you're behind the... Let me just check that. I've got it right here. And let's see, because I looked the other day after you had emailed me about the ham clock. And I hope you got that information and understood my email there, Paul. I'm really not an expert on the Raspberry Pi. I find it very interesting, that capability. You know, it can do a lot of things for us, and the ham clock is one of those. I hope you get yours going there. You might report on that, but I had seen the Quadra, and I was interested in that, my son-in-law, who's also a ham, he's W5PU, actually, and everybody can remember his call sign, but he's not very active, and anyway, he is a pretty good IT guy, and I said, you know, Mike, if you want to give me something for my birthday, you can get a Raspberry Pi going and with ham clocks for me, and you can use Quadra if you want or whatever. And he said, I'll do that, and he had one available, and he got it all working for me. He gave it to me as a birthday present, and it was very much appreciated. It's an addition to my shack here, which I enjoy, and I thought that was kind of neat. It was no outlay required. He had all the, I had the monitor, but he had all the other stuff. Anyway, KE4TP, anything for the net this morning, Paul? Go ahead, W5OG.
Googling, how to build these things. I do have a Raspberry Pi 2.0, I think it is. I'm using that as a hotspot with my 999 reflection. But I do have an older Raspberry Pi, and I was trying to get the operating system loaded on that, as well as the ham clock. So I think this one
Okay, Paul, well, glad you could check in with us this morning, and good luck with that project. I think you'll enjoy that. It's a neat little device there, the hemp clone. All right, I'll say 7-3 for now, Paul, and come back whenever you can and join us here on the net. Let me get back to my net logger screen, and we'll start down the 73 round here. Let's see if Don is still there. See if he'd like to give us 73 there. If you would, Bob, K1BOB, bring in K0ZNC, W5OG.
K1BOB, Roger, and Don, you're up for the 73 round. Go ahead, sir.
Okay, thank you much, Tom. Thank you much, Dale. Good question. I really have a great one. I will hopefully see you all tomorrow. K0ZNC back to W5OG via K1BOB and 73 Tom, K0ZNC.
K1BOB, back to net.
Okay, thank you, Bob, and 7-3 to you, Don. See you tomorrow there, we hope. All right, let's go to Lee, Inside BE. Thanks again for the net logging duties there, Lee. Appreciate that very much. W5OG.
W5OG Inside BE. Oh, you're welcome, Dale. It was an easy day today. One of the tasks that I was given when I went over to General Dynamics on the F-16 program was to understand what the growth of the airplane was in the out years. And I sat down with the engineers and got a fire hose introduction to weight and balance and mass property from a design standpoint. So, I knew you had to do it. You have to split the difference. I assumed that the weight and balance center of gravity on the 141 was near the wing, so you had to do that. One other 141 very quickly. When I was at Fort Hood, West Fort Hood had Gray Army Airfield. That used to be a SAC base back in the day, but very long runways. And we would get C-141 and C-133s 2 or 3 times a week into Gray. They were hauling UH-1s that were disassembled and needed to be overhauled. They would offload 5s, and they would go to Red River Army Depot, and right there on the ramp, they would load 5, turn the airplane right around after I refueled them, and they'd be on their way. So it was quite an operation. And one more comment, Dale, and maybe you have a comment on this. I could not believe how beautifully made the 141 was. The fit and finish was remarkable. And I was just blown away by the beauty of the airplane, but how it was built and just how it looked, no seams, the rivet lines were perfect. Everything was beautifully made. What a great airplane. W5OG N5B, 73, Dale. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, good comment there, Lee, and I agree with that. Somewhat industrial looking inside the aircraft, naturally, but since it's not it was not a passenger carrying airplane fundamentally, and but it did have the capability to do that. And then when they put all those passenger seats in there, I've flown them with the they had one of the pallet positions could be one of those a comfort thing. It added 2 facilities, restrooms, and also it added a complete galley. And it was pretty. So if you had a big load, and many times for the IG teams that Bob mentioned there, that we supported, they'd have their own C-141 for a while when they were doing their IG inspections. And at least we did it in MAC, and I'm sure they did it in TAC and SAC. But anyway, those aircraft were quite comfortable in the back. And very well done. But it was a good-looking airplane. when it came out of pilot training, my first choice was the C-141, and I got the location I wanted and everything. But anyway, and I think, well, I know I could have gone to fighters, except the one in my pilot training class there was only one front seater of the F4, and I didn't want to be. I had been right in the back seat of a a B-57. I didn't want to ride in anybody else's back seat, so I elected not to go to the back of the F4. Of course, those guys moved up quickly, and I knew they probably would, but I just didn't like the idea. And that 141 was very appealing as a brand new airplane back then. Anyway, that's my story. Let's move along. Go to Mike. WW5ENZ. Chief, you're up. W5OG 73.
Okay, W5OG, WW5ENZ. I can almost hear you locally here, Dale. Actually, I can hear you locally. I get most of it. I can pick most of it out. Anyway, it was a couple of things. I'll comment on the thing you mentioned on the airlift capability. One of the things that I saw was my daughter. She was weapons controller, and she was put in Baghdad, right in the middle of the airport there. And she had her booth was set right there, I guess, box or whatever they called it. And she was radar control, and traffic control for combat. But the neat thing about that is they waited for their UPS deliveries every day. Their UPS deliveries would come in, and she'd get stuff from the States. And I was thinking, gosh, that used to be 141s probably, but now they're UPS. And I think you kind of clarified that, Dale, when you said that the civilian transport folks picked up that mission. They kind of did. So that's just one comment. Also, when I was flying in and out, when I went to Maroon to move A-10s around, we took a 130 in and I got a 135 out. But everybody talked about trying to get 141, but it's probably too late in the game. But the 141 I think was the true Cadillac of the Air Force, and I think you guys kind of expanded on that a little bit. It was a Cadillac. I don't know. The 135 was a pretty smooth ride, but C-130, oh man. You can have those babies. Anyway, that's all for me. WW5ENZ 73, everybody. Have a great day, and we'll catch you tomorrow.
Okay. All right, Chief. Well, we can talk about a lot of these comments, but yes. And my career was kind of unique because I spent that portion of my life in MAC, in Military Airlift Command, associated with the airlift. And I saw it from the headquarters viewpoint when I got to Scott Air Force Base here in Illinois, right across from St. Louis, Missouri, where the headquarters for MAC is, and now our Air Mobility Command. But anyway, part of our, as a staff officer, part of the drill that we were faced with, how are we going to meet this requirement for all this airlift? You can identify it, but you couldn't figure out where we're going to get it from. We were fully using the 141s and whatever else, and the meager little craft that was available then. Hold on a second. Well, I'm going to let that telephone ring there unless Karen picks it up. Anyway, where was I? Oh yeah, back to MAC. But anyway, about the time I got on up in the Air Force and was ready to retire and thinking about retiring, the UPS and FedEx. Well, FedEx first, the guy Fred Smith drew up the idea for I think he got an F on his term paper. In business class or something, in his master's class, as I recall, the guy said this idea will never work, and of course it grew into an incredible industry. Anyway, that then quickly became part of the airlift availability to MAC, and boy, what an amazing capability that was or represented. And so anyway, it expands the time forward here, and it comes time for me to retire finally after 27 years. And I found out, lo and behold, I was still young enough to maybe be competitive with the airlines. Got hired by UPS, and then and later on, even before I retired from UPS, I got to actually fly the classic 747s. And we did those military charters a lot. And I was right back where I started in aviation, in flying my flying career, flying the East Coast bases, especially Dover and McGuire, and pick up whatever they needed to take to Ramstein. And I was right back doing the same thing we did in the Air Force. So it was kind of funny. But yeah, times change, and it's interesting to see the evolution of our Air Force capability. Anyway, that's enough for me. Let's go to Bill. W2WLD. Go ahead, Bill. 7-3 round. W5OG.
Very fine, Dale. Well, you've had a diverse flight here. Very, very interesting. Looking out the window, the sun's out and snow's coming down. Enjoyed it, Dale. Both the net and the questions. Thank you, and everybody have a great day. 73. W5OG, W2, WLD.
Okay, Bill, fine 7-3 to you, and have a great Thursday there. K1BLB, Bob, anything additional there? You're up 73, W5OG.
K1BLB, no, I enjoyed the questions there. I wanted to learn more about the C-141 there. The TAC-IG team that I was on, and in fact I arranged to I just put an order in for transportation. Many times we would get 707s, different command and control type aircraft that could carry a large amount of passengers and also had a command section in them. They're quite interesting aircraft, so if we carried the general with us, the IG, we put them in the back there. It's kind of a separate area with a big lazy boy reclining type seat, which is really nice with a table next to it. But different weird aircraft. So we take about 70 folks usually in a couple of aircraft, or 90 folks, and then we had augmentees, about 25. They all arrived by commercial air, so that was a lot of money. Plus, God, I had to rent out about 60 rental cars for us at the base. So it was quite an operation and a lot of money involved every inspection. This is K1BLB. Thank you, Dale. And 72 to everybody. K1BLB. Back to net.
Okay, yeah, Bob. Yeah, I know the different commands did it differently, and they all had their little quirks in the way they arranged things. So, anyway, 7-3. We'll see you over in Echo Lake, perhaps. John, WA6LJS, 7-3 round, W5OG.
Okay, thanks, Dale. Good net today. Good conditions here. Pretty much fearing everybody locally. The only one station I think I had to use the SDR for. A point I wanted to mention, we're getting close to the time when we do our donations. You know, we donate charitable donations to the tunnels to from towers, I think it is, and Soldier's Best Friend, and we also give something to the Utah SDR and also to the General LeMay Fund. And we're going to have to cut back a little bit. I'm still working the numbers here, but I wanted to mention everybody check if your dues are up to date, because we've got a number of people that are members that are pretty much behind on their dues. And the way to check that, well, you can email me too, but the easy way to check it is try to log into the website, your account on the website. And if you're unable to log into the account, that means that you're behind on your dues. Jennifer cuts off the ability to log into the site. You can log into the general site, but you can't log into the private where you use your password. So you can just check that, make sure that you can still log in, and that means that you are up to date on your dues. Other than that, good net today, Dale. Back to you, W2WLD, WA6LJS.
Yeah, that was yesterday, but okay, John. W5OG here. 7-3, John. Yeah, I think most everybody heard you there, John. Reminder that if you can't check into the website there, to the members only, that probably means that you're behind in your dues. That shuts you out. I've had that happen myself. All right, let's move along. John, W7AJN, 7-3 round. John, W5OG.
W7AJN, good net and good question. Brought back memories. So everybody have a wonderful day. Make it so because you're in charge of it. W7AJN, 7-3 to everyone.
Yeah, 7-3, John, and I come back tomorrow. We'll see you then. K4YDB, 7-3 round. Charlie, W5OG.
W5OG K4YDB. Well, good net today, Dale, as usual. I did enjoy the question and all the comments on that thing. I like that airplane. Anyway, 7-3s, everybody. Everybody have a good day. I'm going to go to the bank and finish up my grocery, my Christmas shopping today. K4YDB, back to net.
Okay, Charlie. Yeah, mighty fine. All right, let's go to Brian. WB5DRI, 7-3 round, Brian, W5OG.
Okay, Dale, W5OG, WB5DRI. Well, good net, Dale, enjoyed it. And 73s to all the Flyers on that. Until the next time. Back to you, Dale. W5OG, WB5DRI. Back to that. Good day, everybody. 73s.
All right, Brian, mighty fine, and a good signal on the SDR. I can actually hear you a bit locally here also. Not real strong. Not like it was the other day where we had great connections, great short paths there, which is interesting here on 20 meters. James, KG5PT, a dumb question on my part about where Cliff is. I knew it, with his new truck, he doesn't have an HF capability yet, so he'll be on Echolink, I'm sure. We'll see him there. James, anything else? 7-3 round, W5OG.
W5OG, KG5PC. Yeah, Cliff didn't know Echolink right now. He just did a mic check. Dale, I was going to answer your question. 141 there at the Air Force Museum, the one I took a picture of you in front of, did you happen to fly that one? And I was kind of surprised Charlie didn't put that on the live stream because I sent him that picture we took of you standing in front of that 141 there at the museum. So you might talk about it on Echolink, but 73s, and we'll catch everybody tomorrow, and I'll catch everybody here on Echolink in just a minute. Show up. 73s, KG5PC, back to that.
Okay, fine, James. I expect I probably did. Those airplanes, we flew. There were so many of us. I mean, there were a lot of pilots, and those airplanes, they kept going all the time. We'd go into crew rest, and that airplane, another crew would pick it up wherever it was, Elmendorf or Yakona, and you just kept on flying the airplane. It was amazing. Just like the airlines, the same kind of system. And I'm sure that I flew that tail number, but that's the one that's at the Air Force Museum is the Hanoi Taxi, and it was one of them that brought out the first of the POWs from Hanoi. So a lot of history there with that mission. Anyway, 7-3, James. Let's move along and go to Bob. K2SJP. Bob, 7-3 round, W5OG.
W5OG, K2SJP. Great set, Dal. Thanks for running it. And we'll be over on Echolink from the Mobile. Going in Mobile now. We got a 1 o'clock appointment, so we got to start driving. But we'll be on Echolink. 73s, everybody. Have a great day. K2SJP. Back to net control.
All right, 7-3, Bob. See you on Echolink there for a few minutes. All right, let me see if Paul is still there. K4 Tango Papa. Anything else, Paul, for the 73 round? W5OG.
W5OG, KE4TV. No, sir, nothing from me. Everybody have a great day. KE4TV.
All right, we need to get back on the active list there, Paul. So if you think about it, you can do it all by PayPal in many different ways. But it's a little bit more difficult now that you're not on the roster. But I think you can still do it that way, or just send $15 down to John, WA6LJS. Anyway, 7-3 to you, Paul. Good luck with that project, the Raspberry Pi and the ham clock there. There are several YouTube videos that are very good that you might just follow one of those and figure out how to do it there. Get that Raspberry Pi going. All right, the rest are receive only. Let me just run through there. Norm, K9, KJN, and Chris, KS5KY. WB2JJO Ray and K6PX Steve, and also I see Mike is on there now listening, KJ5IAI, so perhaps you'll join us on Echo Line. All right, that's the bottom of the list, unless I miss anybody. Any last check-ins or any last comments before we close the net at W5OG?
W5OG, W5ABI, you missed me on the 73 round, Dale.
Okay, there's a 2 in there. Hold on just a second. And what was the comment, Joe? W5ABI? There were 2 of you in there. I couldn't hear. What was your comment, Joe? Over.
You missed me on the 73 round, Dale. Over.
Oh my goodness, I see that, and I apologize. How did I skip over you there, Joe? I'm embarrassed. Somebody skipped over me yesterday. I think that was Bill. So it can happen, and I did not intentionally do it, Joe. But obviously, go ahead and say you're up for the 73 round, Joe. And my apologies, W5OG.
No problem, Dale. W5OG, W5ABI. Good net, good question. I got half of it right. 73s to you and all the players. Thanks for running the net. And W5OG, W5ABI.
Yeah, you think to a totally objective observer, how in the world could you do that? You've got 2 people watching, the net logger there has got it highlighted for you. It's right there in front of you. How could you miss it? I don't know, Joe, but anyway, it does happen. All right, who was I think it was a 2. Who was the other station they're calling in? And try it again, W5OG. Okay, Whiskey Bravo 2, Uniform Foxtrot Oscar. Interesting call sign there. Go ahead, you're up, W5OG. Okay, Larry, mighty fine. Mesa, Arizona, and the RV park there out in the desert there. And thank you for checking in. Yeah, it's the Air Force's Flyers Club net. And we're on every day starting at 1500 Zulu, 10 o'clock local Central Time. And we're glad to have you join us anytime there, Larry. Anything else for the net before we shut it down? Go ahead. WB2 UFO, did you have another comment there, Larry? right, Larry. Yeah, come back and join us whenever you can. Move along to, I see Lowell's in there, N6CYO. Good morning, Lowell. Anything for the net this morning? Go ahead, W5OG. Okay, yeah, I know you were heavily involved with that. I forget the. I think is that at Los Angeles Air Force Station? Where is that located there? Lowell, over. Yeah, all very interesting stuff. Well, we get a chance to chat about that occasionally. Very interesting. We'll appreciate your joining us. You need to come back and join us more often. And again, pass along our regards to Dale and Julie there. We sure miss them on the net. So anyway, 730 Lowell. Anything else? Over. All right, Lowell, mighty fine. N6CYO, W5OG. And that is the end of the net, and I'm going to go ahead and close the net. We need to make room for the Alaska Pacific net, which begins here at the bottom of the hour. It's coming up shortly. We'll give them a little time to start their check-ins, but they're up on 292 here. So anyway, this has been the Thursday edition. I do appreciate all the great comments and good conversation and all the participation in our net today. This has been this is W5OG. Now closing the Air Force's Flyers Club net, returning the frequency to normal amateur use. 730 W5OG clear.
Comment, Dale.
Go ahead, John.
Yeah, I just want to mention the dues are $12 a year. $12. A number of people have sent in $15. 15 is the joining fee. That's a one-time fee when you first join to cover the materials. But the annual dues are only $12. Thanks. Catch you on Echolink, W5OG, WA6LJS.
Okay, thanks to John for that clarification. Yeah, $12 annual dues. That's not very much. And you think it'll be going up instead of down, but that's great. $12 instead of 15. 15 to join. All right, I got it. And I guess I probably knew that and had forgotten. 730 everybody, W5OG clear. Go on to transition over to Echolink. See you on Echolink. W5OG clear.